Good morning, everyone. Let me just check if everything is fine here. Mute microphone. Yeah, everything is fine. So today I'm gonna start differently, to be honest. And so what I'm gonna do? Instead of record a video every day, I'm gonna make this video, and then this is the video of the week. Okay, I already know that most of the videos that I uploaded on my YouTube channel, they are not reaching the people. So I decided to stick with one video during the week, and then I will just break the video and make shorts for the rest of the week. Okay, I think that's better. I don't need to also come here and do videos every day, because I know that it's nice, but to be honest, it's not reaching the people that I wanted to reach. So yeah, so let's see. Hi Deborah. Oi Deborah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start talking about the anterior spinothalamic tract. Anterior spinothalamic tract is this one. Oh, let me just mute the, because otherwise YouTube will mess with my video. Okay, the anterior spinothalamic tract, which is this one here, okay, is on the anterior, in the anterior funiculus. Okay, anterior spinothalamic tract is located in the anterior funiculus. In the anterior funiculus. And you probably know this pathway is important. It is in the spinal cord, as you can see here, and it will transmit sensory information from the body to the brain. Specifically, its fibers will carry touch and pressure sensations from one side of the body to the opposite side of the brain for processing. And this contralateral transmission is essential, especially for integrating sensory input and maintaining bodily awareness. So let me just complete this illustration. Okay, this is the spinal cord. This is the anterior spinothalamic tract in the anterior funiculus, and this is the gray matter. Okay, now, okay, so let me see. Yeah, so let's talk about the origin. No? The fibers of this anterior spinothalamic tract originate from the neurons in the nucleus proprius. Okay, in the nucleus proprius here. Nucleus proprius. I have to, yeah, just take this too. Okay, and as you can see here, is located in the posterior horn of the spinal cord. Here is the posterior horn, here is the anterior horn, and these neurons receive input from primary sensory receptors in the skin and the muscles. So let me just illustrate here. Dorsal root ganglion. This is the dorsal root ganglion, okay? I just put the abbreviation of the dorsal root ganglion, DRG. And what will happen? It will cross, okay? After of course originate from the posterior horn, these fibers will cross over to the opposite side of the spinal cord, as you can see here. Okay, and it's important to remember that when they cross via the white commissure. That is here, white commissure. Okay, so via the white commissure. Let me just do this. And what will happen? This crossing will be crucial, especially because it ensures that sensory information from one side of the body is processed by the opposite hemisphere of the brain. And this is called contralateral representation. Now, the ascending pathway, which is this one, once crossed, you can see that the fibers ascend through the anterior funiculus. Okay, ascend through the anterior funiculus. This is the anterior funiculus. Okay, which is one of the three major longitudinal tracts of the spinal cord, and the anterior funiculus serves as basically as a conduit for ascending sensory information. And the fibers will terminate in the posterolateral ventral nucleus of the thalamus. Posterolateral ventral nucleus of the thalamus. Okie doke. Okay, let me just okay. This area is a relay station in the brain, okay? From here, the sensory information is further processed and transmitted to the primary somatosensory cortex in the cerebral cortex for conscious perception. Now, let me just finish this illustration. Usually damage to the anterior spinotalamic tract results in contralateral loss of touch and pressure sensation. Okay? Disease can also affect the sensory pathways. We can include here multiple sclerosis, transverse myelitis. Both can disrupt the function of spinothalamic tract, and this, of course, leads to sensory disturbances like numbness, tingling, or pain. And then I'm gonna finish this one here. Okay, I already mentioned, you probably know very well these structures. Dorsal root ganglion, mainly composed of sensory neuron cell bodies that transmit sensory information into the spinal cord. Nucleus proprius, which is where neuronal cell bodies in the posterior horn process income sensory signals. And then we have the fibers crossing the midline in the white commissure here. This is in a critical decussation point where sensory fibers switch sides. And then we have the anterior spinothalamic tract here. This is the ascending pathway that will carry this sensory information up to the termination, to the posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. Okay, this is the termination area of the brain where sensory information is related to higher centers. Now, what else? We have more things. So let me see what else. Let me just do this. This is the anterior spinotalamic tract, the anterior funiculus, located in the anterior funiculus, okay? And then we have here in blue the posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. Okay, these two parts here are the most important for now. And all of this to talk about the anterior ventral spinothalamic tract. Now I'm going to talk about the position of the lateral and anterior spinothalamic tract in the spinal cord here. So just to remind you guys, I will make only one video of anatomy per week. I already mentioned that I'm not reaching enough people on my YouTube channel with this kind of content. I think that there are other things that is very important to point here. It because it's a very technical information. It's not everyone that will be interested in stop to watch a full video of this thing, especially the generation Z, the generation Alpha. Generation Alpha will even lesser, okay? But yeah, they rather prefer more funny videos and quick videos. So spinal cord here, but does this mean that I will not make any video during the week? No, I will keep recording videos, but I will just draw anatomy. Sometimes I'm gonna talk about anatomy, very gross anatomy, not clinical, okay? This is the thing. I'm gonna draw some structures and then point areas, but I will not talk about anything more technical, any other thing more technical. Probably I'll make more videos of Chinese medicine that I need to do. Actually, it's something that I need to do. Okay, now we have here the position of the lateral and anterior spinothalamic tract in the spinal cord. And the spinothalamic tracts, you already know, are essential pathways in the spinal cord and will be responsible for transmitting sensory information from the body to the brain. This is something that I hope that you already understand, okay? Now, there are two main spinothalamic tracts, the lateral spinothalamic tract and the anterior spinothalamic tract. Each one will carry different types of sensory information. So here we have, let me just do this. The lateral spinothalamic tract, okay? And let me show you first. Okay, we have the anterior spinothalamic tract. We have the lateral spinothalamic tract, okay, and we have here the posterior spinocerebellar tract and the anterior spinocerebellar tract. Now, talking about the lateral spinothalamic tract, okay, you can see that this tract here, lateral spinothalamic tract, lies within the lateral funiculus. If this one is lying on the anterior funiculus, this one is on the lateral funiculus, and is located deep to the posterior spinocerebellar tract, okay? And the lateral funiculus is one of the three major lateral tracts in the spinal cord. So this is the lateral spinothalamic thalamic tract. Okay, so let me just do this. Okay, better, no? The lateral spinotalamic tract primarily carries pain and temperature sensations, okay, from the body to the brain. And these sensations will be important for detecting how I can say, like a noxious stimuli, and also it will help to maintain the homeostasis. Now, the fibers of this tract will originate from neurons in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, especially from cells in the substantia gelatinosa and other laminae. And these neurons receive input from primary sensory receptors in the skin and deep tissues, okay? Now we have here this anterior spinothalamic tract. Anterior. Spinothalamic tract. Spinothalamic. If you want to watch the video, the full video, it will be on my YouTube channel later today, okay? Anterior spinothalamic tract. And this tract will lie on the anterior horn, okay? Not on the anterior horn, to the anterior horn of the spinal cord, within the anterior funiculus, okay? Within the anterior funiculus. And the anterior funiculus is, as I mentioned here, but I will just remind you, is another major longitudinal tract that runs along the ventral aspect of the spinal cord. The anterior spinothalamic tract carries touch and pressure sensations from the body to the brain. So are the sensations that will provide basic awareness of tactile contact, okay, and pressure on the skin and deeper tissues. Good information, especially for masseurs, chiropractors, osteopaths, physiotherapists, and any other manual therapist. These fibers, the fibers of this tract, will originate from neurons in the nucleus proprius, okay, of the posterior horn, and as I mentioned before, here. And what else? Here, okay. These neurons will process sensory signals before transmitting to the two higher centers. I think that this is another relevant information. When damaged, when the spinal cord is damaged to either lateral or anterior, affecting especially the anterior or lateral spinothalamic tract, this will result in sensory deficits. Okay, I mentioned this before, I will not mention again. And there are some diseases that I also mentioned, such as multiple sclerosis, transverse myelitis, or compression of the spinal cord. And these will affect and disrupt these tracts. In this situation, will lead to disturbances like numbness, tingling, or altered pain perception. And here we have other structures, okay? We have the posterior cerebellar tract, posterior spinocerebellar tract. Oops. Oh no, don't fail. Posterior spinocerebellar tract. And then we have the anterior spinocerebellar tract. Sorry. Okay, I just want to posterior, anterior, lateral spinotalamic tract, and anterior spinocerebellar tract. Guys, the posterior, as you can see here, this posterior spinocerebellar tract lies superficial to the lateral spinothalamic tract, okay? To the lateral spinothalamic tract, and is involved in proprioception and coordination. And the anterior spinothalamic tract, this is located more ventrally, as you can see here, and it will contribute to proprioception and motor coordination. Relevant for physical educators, movement professionals, Pilates instructors, yoga instructors, Tai Chi, martial arts instructors that like to work with a more, let's say, clinical approach, rehab or whatever, therapeutic. Let me just clean the table, guys, because otherwise... So this is basically what I wanted to share. Let me just finish this part here. I will not paint with black here because otherwise you will not see the fibers, but this one I will. So, if you speak Portuguese, you can bear with me because I'm gonna explain everything now in Portuguese. And about Portuguese, I'm gonna leave the video, the full video here on my TikTok if you want to watch the full video later. But as you probably know, it will be just in it will be just in Portuguese. And there is another thing that I want to say before I move to the next one. Hi, Edna. Obrigado, gente.